Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Goldfire Within. It was written by Christopher Smith Adair, and it's available from Chaosium and Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is Keith Craig, and this is episode 14. Our recap will be given by Matthew Sanderson as his character, Milton Blake. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Matthew?
Thank you very much, Tom. Following on from our Russian being taken away by the insectoid beasts with faces that resemble an afterthought, we followed a group of mountain folk back through their village. We, as it turns out, are about as stealthy as a bunch of bulls, not just going through a china shop, but through a whole damn porcelain factory. So Damiel ends up taking the fall for our lack of ability and goes off with the mountain men. He's taken to their village, hovel might be more accurate, and their leader, wonderful individual with the monosyllabic name of Groth, the guy with the only seat in town, and evidently puts his foot in it somehow as he's taken off like a prisoner to a hut, while the rest of us watch from a distance. Myself and our poet friend Nathaniel head in next, and we're given the same questioning. We make it quite clear that we're no fans of Argus, and we're immediately ending up on his good side. Happy days. From there on, it's all plain sailing. Everyone's welcome. Damiel is no longer a prisoner, and we find they have White's body left behind by Argus after they came through the town a little while back and humiliated Groth. No wonder he doesn't like him. So, Argus and his merry band of knuckle-dragging apes went to this sacred cave with this door down to some underworld carved in one of the walls. It looks like that's where we're eventually going to be heading. Our poet puts Wyatt's soul back in his body, and the gang's all together again. There's a string of words I wouldn't have thought I would ever have to write in the same sentence before beginning this whole mess. After some moonshine and some sleep, we get back to the Blue Tower, this stack of blue slate pieces of rock on top of each other, not exactly a tower. Supposedly, this is the way down to see her, or as we know her, Esmeralda Ash, the bride. I reached out to try and make some contact with her, thinking that maybe if she doesn't like Argus too, we might be able to come to some kind of arrangement. However, it looks like the stars were not yet right, as she wasn't ready or willing to talk to us. So tomorrow, or rather today, as it happens. So back to the village we wait. We don't want to go to the cave until we've made contact with Esmeralda and tried to get her on side. Whatever happens, it can't be any worse than passing through the arsehole of a doll. Been there, done that, and still can't get the stench out of my nostrils.
All right. Lovely. Paint a lovely picture. All right. So as alluded to by Milton, you guys spent another evening in the village, and the next day has dawned. It's a very brisk morning, barely above about 2 degrees centigrade. So a little chilly up here in the mountains, but the hardy folk get ready and they start going about their business. What you start to notice is probably their routine.
You regain more health.
Yes, you do. Two more health.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm assuming after you take care of your morning constitution, get a little something to eat, head off to the tower, which is where you would plan to meet her. Excellent. Who's all going?
I have not had the chance to meet this most intriguing spectral lady yet, so I'm definitely going.
Yes, I don't think it would be wise for us to be a man short.
Excellent. All right. Were you wanting to bring some of the villagers with you, or just go by your own group?
I suspect their superstitions might merely confuse matters, don't you think, fellows?
Probably.
But I mean, the villagers have a rapport with this ghost. Maybe if we show her that the villagers trust us, maybe she'll be more inclined to help our cause.
Not an unreasonable supposition. However, I don't know that Groth would volunteer himself, and the rest of them are marionettes.
Well, if they're going to put on a puppet show, it might as well be to our benefit, right?
We'll see what
no
Groth
objection.
says.
Ah,
I was just going to say he's probably got to be somewhat curious about what's going on.
oh, yeah. If you go talk to him, he kind of gathered you from when Milton kind of went into his little trance to go down and try and speak with her before that something was going on there. And you also get the feeling that, he's appreciating the help, but he's also like, okay, I thought you guys were going to be shoving off here soon. But overall, he's like going, so will we escort you to the cave today?
Are we going to the tower?
Oh, we're going back to the tower. Okay. I don't quite understand the fascination with the tower. It's there. She says that's where we shouldn't be when her creatures come, but
Oh, but I mean, being by the towers, there's just such this beautiful aesthetic quality. Those blue stones amidst the trees, the seclusion, the quiet. I mean, aside from the life-threatening interdimensional monsters, it's quite a lovely place to sit around.
From our perspective, she's taking people that we are familiar with. We want to know what's happening.
oh, I can understand the curiosity with that. Yes. Well,
Would you like to come with us? We're going to try and talk to her.
oh, I think I will, but if you don't mind, I might watch from a distance.
Very well.
Yeah, you can give me a psychology roll for that.
The way you said it, I'd say he's scared.
That's a hard success from me.
Yeah, yep. And Damio had made the correct assessment. That this is one of the first times you ever heard like just even a little bit of a shake in Groth's voice.
Mm.
She is an intimidating force, we have found. And we hope that since you are in good relations with her, she might look kindly upon our visit.
Oh, I don't know if I'd say I was on good relations with her. More of we provide her a service by making sure people don't disturb the tower.
I see.
And what does she provide you with?
Not
She-
eating the wall.
Yeah, she
A
doesn't.
lack of kidnapping.
Yeah, she doesn't attack our village.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes the simplest bargains are the best.
And she must have been some kind of a mobster back in her time before she became a ghost and whatnot. It sounds like quite the bootlegger type of arrangement.
Well, I've dealt with bootleggers, and that is a well-weighed, accurate portrayal you paint there, Mr. Cooper.
Well, we're ready to go if you'd like
Okay.
to follow along.
Well, let's go. And you see he packs some a little bit of trail mix and nuts and everything. You guys make it out to the tower. Again, it doesn't take too long. I believe it is 1935. And as you get to the tower, it's looks the same. And were you wanting to do any preparations or just kind of sit and wait?
I wanted to, while we're walking, talk to Marsden. Do you have any extra firearms on you? I normally don't use a gun too well, but I'm hearing about these transdimensional beasts, and
The guns won't do you any good against those, but
Yes, I'm afraid my pop gun was not very effective. Nathaniel?
I managed to fell one of them with this, but you have to get awfully close.
well, I have my ironwood staff and my whip, but I just didn't know what these creatures were like, so that's why I asked.
I have a couple of fascist 36s in my bag. If you'd like one, just stick in your belt.
Yeah, just break glass in case of emergency type deal. I'm much better with my.
Well,
my hands and melee.
I know the guns seem to do well enough against the things. I'm not sure how well they're going to work against a ghost.
who was it who contacted her? Was it Milton? Milton. Marston, do you think maybe you should do a card reading?
I'll have to try. What precisely would you suggest that I ask? Whether she's going to attack us again the way she did at the facility? Whether she'll join us in the battle against Argus?
Can you only get like yes or no answers?
Yes.
Maybe something along the lines, is this a futile attempt to get help against the white armband people, or like, are we wasting our time?
How about does she have a weakness?
Yeah, but you might just say, yes, she has a weakness. We got no idea what it is.
Well, then when we see the big glowing blue crystal, we shoot.
I mean, if you're trying to convince her to help us, phrase your questions in ways that will impart information to her.
Will she help us?
Are you aware that I guess how many questions do you get to ask? Is it like 3, like some kind of strange genie type situation, or
it's one at a time, and it is somewhat vexing. I can't just do it all day and then go out dancing.
Oh, we could ask it. Ask the ghost if they're aware that the fascists are trying to end the world. For starters,
well, that's something to speak to her about. But I'm right now just attempting a divination before we approach her.
Oh, divination! Oh, I understand. You're going to ask the deck of cards.
Right. Yes. I could ask if there's a chance that she'll assist us against Argus.
Yeah.
And if they say no, then we can save ourselves the trouble.
That chance might be 0.0000001%, though.
Is there a good chance? Is there a good chance that she will help us?
But what's the worst that could happen if there's just a snowball's chance in hell that she helps us? What's the harm?
Well, she did,
after all.
She did stir up quite a bit of difficulty at the institution. She's got a way of draining one's very essence. She herself may be less than corporeal, but that does not prevent her from causing harm. I could ask if we're likely to convince her to assist us in combating Argus. Likely, even then, that somewhat eliminates the 0.000% possibility. Yeah, it is always true when messing with these sorts of poorly understood sciences that there's a factor of irony that sometimes is involved.
But I mean, all language is relative. I mean, you could ask the cards if there's a likely chance, and those cards might consider 0.0000001% chance of high likely chance.
Yes, poet, it's true. Right. 29 is a successful roll. In fact, it's less than half. And I have drawn 7 of wands on the question, are we likely to be able to convince Esmeralda Ash to assist us in combating Argus?
It's a yes, no, huh? So let the keeper ask you by likely, are you saying higher than 50%?
Yes.
And then no.
So the answer is we are not likely to, although there still could be a 1 in 5 chance, a 1 in 6 chance, and so on. So we could, avoid, given that Groth's hospitality is already on the wane, we could forego this interview. But now that we know that she and we have a common enemy, it might well provide us with some kind of assistance, even indirectly.
But I mean, if you walk away now, I mean, leaving her, in the cold, as so to speak,
Not
that's not
inviting
going to
her
put
to
her
the
in her,
party.
not going to put you in her good graces.
Yeah.
Plus, the cards aren't 100% accurate all the time, so
Can only tell me
we never
dribs
know.
and drabs.
Milton made
So-
an invitation, and if we don't show up, it might hinder us in the future. So
Okay.
I think she's going to be a problem regardless anyway, because she's still been taking people from the Institute. So she has to be dealt with in one way or another.
Well, and there's the Boris problem. So, tally ho.
All right. So I gather you guys are still going to keep your date, not stand her up. Okay. Excellent. All right. So you guys hang out there. About 45 minutes after arriving, you see a kind of a blue apparition show up, and this is what she looks like. She's wearing the robes. She does have her hair kind of done up as in the Bride of Frankenstein style, and you get a feeling of supreme confidence in her face. As
Is it still done up with the Yig kind of squiggles and symbology?
it is a very serpentine, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, and she kind of just floats toward the tower, and as she gets closer to it, she looks at you, and she's like going, "Hello, you said you had something we needed to discuss?"
Indeed. Which one of my friends here wants to elaborate upon this?
You, before I start, you just look absolutely magnificent. I've never seen something quite as striking as your appearance and your grace, wisping your way through the air. It is wonderful to behold. And it would be a shame if you lost the ability to do that forever. Or you see, we have a group of people we're trying to follow who have the intent to destroy the entire world. So it's going to put a little damper on whatever you got going on here.
The old people are trying to destroy the world, and so therefore I need to assist.
You don't need to do anything, really. I mean, it's all about wants and desires, right?
Oh, it is, and I have been watching you for a while. You sleep rather heavily, Mr. Cooper. I visited you in your cabin before.
Yes, well, I have other places I like to be when I'm asleep.
I gathered that, and the one there in the metal. I don't believe I've met him before.
I'm Wyatt Chambers. Pleasure to meet you, man.
Yes, it is a pleasure to meet me.
Do I need a sign check or anything for her the first time I've seen her?
That's a good point. Yes, you do.
All right. 20, so that's a pass.
Oh,
right.
sanity check. You ever see a ghost? That might be good. 17's a pass.
All right. You don't lose anything for seeing her then? I hadn't even thought of that. So she's like, but surely you didn't ask me to come up here for pleasantries and to tell me stories of people destroying the earth without more details on what you are wanting from me and what you can offer.
Well, Madam Ash, We do not entirely apprehend the extent of your powers and abilities and wouldn't presume to tell you in what fashion you might be of assistance. But the fellow who maintains that curious primitive village over the hill back there says that you are an enemy already of this Argus fellow, or the creatures that inhabit Argus and his ilk. They have entered they're attempting to generate a rift that will bring ancient people into the present, eradicating the civilization and possibly inadvertently generating a rift that will eradicate this reality. I assume that you prefer this reality to ceasing to be.
I'm not familiar with an Argus, but this person you speak of, he sounds like someone I could use. Someone that powerful?
Are you familiar with the ancient civilization of Lomar?
Oh, I've heard of it, yes.
Yes, they have understandings that are lost to the present time and space. But they don't seem to understand precisely what they're up to. I think their arrogance is leading them to folly.
Oh, well, that could be, but again, this Argus, as you call them, where would he be at? Why would you need my assistance?
Well, there's a gateway and a cave not far from here.
Oh, yes.
They've gone down there, and I believe it's part of their plan to, again, open up some unnatural portal in time and space.
So you said they came down the cave.
Yes. We intend to follow them and end their mischief.
So you intend to come visit?
Right there.
Oh yes, that's where I am at. I'm at the end of the cave.
Oh, well, then they might be on their way to visit you right now.
They might be, but I didn't see them as I traversed up.
Yes.
Where have they got to?
I don't know. I haven't seen any surface dwellers coming down here, but that I haven't brought myself.
Speaking of which, the surface dwellers, as you call them, that your servitors snatch away, the white-haired Russian fellow, for example, what do you do with them, pray tell?
He was a friend of ours.
Oh, he didn't make it to me. He might have ran into Regalil. She's a slaver down here. You'll have to watch out for her.
Regalil. Well, thank you for the warning.
What does this person look like?
Oh, Regalil? Oh, you would never ever forget if you met her. It depends what artistic proclivity has struck her for the week is what she would look like.
Now
that's a talent I greatly envy, let me tell you.
Friends with this thing?
She serves a purpose until I'm done with her.
And if we do run into her, does she have a weakness?
Oh, I assume like all mortals. But I mean, do you have a weakness? Do all living creatures have weaknesses? Of course.
You were once a living creature named Ash. Is that correct?
Oh,
or is that mere illusion?
Oh, I'm still living. This is just a projection of my mind.
You were once mortal, I meant.
Oh, once mortal. Yes, that's I was once mortal. Now I am immortal. Such a simpler term. We'll put it unaging.
Deathless, perhaps.
Perhaps I could teach you.
Oh, that's Something I'm not uncurious about.
If you prove strong of mind.
Well, I'd
you-
like to make arrangements after we save the world.
Oh, yeah. You did fascinate me at the Institute.
Ah, thank you. It was an interesting exchange, certainly.
Hmm. She's So I don't know of this party you speak of, but if I could give you safe passage through my realm.
That would be very much appreciated, yes.
Hmm. Do you heard of not leaving the path?
Basis of many folk tales.
Hmm. That's advisable when you make it down. Stay on the path. The city will be easy to find. I'm in the tallest tower.
City?
Oh yes. Yeah, the ancient cities of the canyons. And I will butcher this word. The city of Vathru.
Oh, that's
Now, Keith, refresh my memory because I'm confusing Boris and Wyatt. Did Wyatt made the successful Cthulhu mythos about Yig and her? Or was that Boris?
That was Boris. Yeah.
Okay. All right, there goes that question.
Yeah.
I am going to when she said the Kanyan people, I'm going to say something. The lost city of the lost civilization of Kanyan. And does this have to do with Yan Ho, which you brought up before the game? But I'm going to say it in Kanyan.
Ah. So the four of you hear Damio speaking in this language that you've never heard him speak before. And she does respond in Kanyan. She's like, Yin Ho. She's like, that's even deeper. Is that where you seek?
I think that's where they're going.
Like, if they are headed there, then you will need the Black Pilgrimage. It's only in the temples of Nug and Yeb.
We know about this too. Yeah. I'm not going to say that out loud. Well, I think that might be they're up to something.
You've intrigued me. Yes. She's like I had not sensed great mind power in you, but you've intrigued me. It's been a long time since I've heard someone speak in the original tongue.
Well, I am a scholar of languages.
Oh, you would make a fine consort, also.
Probably not.
Well, he's like, oh, if you make it down, then you would get safe passage when you were in the city. He's like, come to the cave. I must warn you that there's been a collapse. You might need to bring some picks and shovels, unless you have other ways to move large rocks.
All right.
Can I ask you another question? Have you seen any other villagers around this tower? Or is only Groth's village around?
Any other villages?
Yeah.
We didn't even know Groth's village was there.
So it is suitably isolated. If you could do me another favor and burn their village down, I'd be quite helpful.
Has Groth offended you in some fashion?
I've grown bored with them.
I think his entire village is composed of people who are somehow mentally enslaved to him.
Oh, so it shouldn't be an issue and no loss to the world.
Question for the keeper: how close has Groth been watching us?
He's kind of.
Is he within earshot of this?
Let me give him a listen roll.
I should not talk. Why do
If you look his way, he's kind of like, he's definitely got the impression that he's like.
So we don't need a psychology roll to see whether he did hear it or not.
No.
Well, at the moment, we're using his town as a home base.
But yes.
We'll, if we survive, we'll see.
Sometimes I just get so annoyed with them stomping around, making me think that someone else is here that I've called. But
well, we've spoken to you directly. We can tell him and his villagers to make sure they stay far away from here.
On another note, if you keep calling people from the Institute, there's not going to be anybody left at the Institute to call, and you're not going to have anybody to do whatever you do with them. So you might want to back off for a couple months.
Yeah, the classic conundrum. If I don't dig the gold out of the ground, if I keep digging the gold out of the ground, there will be no more gold. But if I don't dig the gold out of the ground, what's the point?
Well, we got a bunch of knuckle draggers in the cave, and I would gladly tie each one of them up and bring them to your tower and let you.
They're just they would just be carnal fodder. But
Is it the abilities of those at the Institute that draw them to you or make them desirable to you?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's the same thing that drew me to Mr. Cooper. However, I could never seem to find him when he was awake.
People with abilities. That's what you're looking for.
Of course. We are the next evolutionary step.
Well, we might have something. Will we be able to talk to you when we're down there?
Oh, yes. We'll have a feast ready for you.
Why don't we have this? Let's get doing this. We'll talk.
Just to clarify, we don't eat people. Like, hopefully, it's like food, not human.
Oh no, there are fish and plant life down here.
No offense. Just I wanted to get that on the record.
A reasonable question. He's like, well, I will show you to the cave.
Thank you.
Last chance to burn down the village.
It'll probably
Perhaps
still be there
later.
when we get back.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sometimes the anticipation is the best part.
Mm.
And she starts, she almost dismissive of you. She just kind of turns around and she starts floating back north.
Goodbye, Croth. See you later if we survive.
He kind of waves and he's, you see a relief come across his face.
And I'm like,
Hey, you may want to move your village, mate. Pronto.
All right. So it takes about an hour of rough hiking. She doesn't have, since she's not physically having to move. She often has to stop and wait for you to climb over fallen trees, and she looks a little impatient, like she's forgotten what a hassle it is to actually have to physically overcome obstacles. But after about an hour of following, you come to a side of a hill, and everyone can give me a spot hidden with a bonus.
My 61 became a 61, so a regular
Nice,
success.
yeah.
I failed both of those rolls.
Yeah.
My 10 became a 70, so I'll stick with the 10. So that's an extreme for me.
All right. So what?
I pass.
Oh yes. What you see is that there was probably no way you were going to actually find this. The cave, the underbrush was all almost like brambles were grown over it. You can with the extreme. Someone got an extreme, right?
Yeah.
You can actually kind of see where there's some bits of rope left behind, where you can kind of surmise that's where someone had tied it up so they could get in there. They probably cut the rope behind them. And so it gives you a feel, yeah, okay, back on the right trail. Once you go in, her blue appearance starts shimmering, and she just kind of fades away. And she's like, I will see you when you make it to the city.
Looking forward to your feast, Madam Ash.
Pleasure meeting you.
She's gone by the time that so you arrive at you're at the cave, and there is 2 branches to the cave, but she pointed you to the left branch to go down. But you do see that there is that there is what's obviously a created archway with a stone, with the stones. Got the keystone at the top, and there's some carvings around the sides of it that everyone can make a Cthulhu mythos if you have any.
No.
I got a 16 out of a 17.
Nice. So you notice on the right-hand side of the archway, there's the symbols are holy symbols of Yig, and on the left-hand side, there are holy symbols to Cthulhu.
This is Yig, and this side is Cthulhu.
Good, Gesundheit.
I read, studied about something with Zelaroths, and they're like deities, gods, kind of powerful beings, alien.
Which one do we take?
Well, Yig's a big snake.
Yig.
What's the one that sounds like a random selection of vowels and consonants?
It's like a octopus man dragon. I don't know how else to explain it.
And it's just one archway there, Damio, just on the right side of the arch is the carvings, and on the left side.
I see.
The left is the Yig.
Yep.
I would assume left, but
Well, and she pointed us to left, correct?
Right, yeah, and like I said, there's just one, but the archway is blocked by what looks like purposely collapsed stones. Like you can kind of come into the archway, and it looks like someone had knocked the stones down. Does anyone have any archaeology, geology, or demolitions?
Well, as it just so happens, I have none of those.
Yeah, what?
I have engineering.
I have some demolition.
Okay, give me a roll.
36, I will spend 6 luck to make that a regular success.
Okay,
Not spending 70 luck.
smart move.
Would engineering help?
Not for this roll. So, Marsden, with that, you notice that the rocks were definitely dynamited down into the way, and which makes you a little bit nervous about maybe blowing them up again, because there might have destabilized the ceiling even more.
Yeah.
Is there a way to climb up and over them and continue?
Nope.
No, they appear to have had reasonably clever sapper on this. It's interesting they don't plan themselves to come out this way. It's interesting also that they thought that someone was so close on their tail. I think we're just going to have to set up, we've got rope and hand tools. We're going to have to block and tackle and pull this thing out from the top without top down, without collapsing anything on ourselves.
We've got a Damiel.
I can try. I can see what I can do. but it's
you know that like the telekinesis can't move those heavy of.
Yeah, it's a magic point per person that it would take to move it. So if it would take 20 people,
That's a lot of magic points.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Now,
it looks like
engineering might help to come up with a.
Now, if we could make a lever, as Archimedes said, we could move the world. So
It's true.
all right. So 37 out of 72. So I could spend 1 luck point to make it a hard.
Nope. All right. So with the engineering, you can kind of you can see which stones you need to move to get into kind of roll instead of having to move each stone one at a time. Oh, if I move this and this will come down, and we can dig ourselves
we just have to
out.
be very careful.
Mhm.
Hopefully they'll have a feast that's not people.
So
Well, they're taking all the people from the institute. They're doing something with them. I don't want
It
to.
sounds like she's taking people that have powers for some reason.
Yes.
She said
So-
something about gaining power,
It sounds like she's got some kind of gruesome breeding program down there, actually.
maybe.
It's a new race.
That's as bad as the fascists.
all right.
It's
So
interesting to see a ghost take such interest in these matters.
I don't think she's a ghost. I think she's a person in a machine like we were that's managing to project herself.
the Wyatt, you realize where you can tie the ropes onto, but did anyone bring like a pulley system or any thing?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Thought I had
Marsden?
this in-
Marsden,
Marston.
did you want to spend either 10 luck or one of those survival roll benefits that you got to say, oh yeah, I did kind of bring this. I thought we might have to dig. Remember, you got three things where you go, oh, my character would have known to make this because I rolled so well my survival roll.
We knew we were
Right.
coming to a cave.
Yep.
Yes, why not? I've said block and tackle. We can certainly. I've got these pulleys, and we brought the climbing rope, and we can We can use the pickaxes to make a brace for the back. So yes, we can. I think.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, one of those gone.
All right. So by having those, you get them set up. Now, who's going to be pickaxing and kind of loosening things up?
I'll do that.
Okay, give me a Constitution roll.
Ooh. No, I didn't pass.
All right, so you're kind of digging along, and you're wishing that maybe you'd done some more exercises, on the. You become quite winded.
Where is my cousin when you need him?
Yeah, quite.
Anyone want to step in to take over for Damio?
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to roll up your sleeves and go to work.
Ode
Alright.
to a blue stone?
Give me a Constitution roll there, Nathaniel.
It's very hard.
31
stone.
is a pass.
All right, so you kind of working away, getting in loose, and whoever's pulling on the rope on the pulley system, once it gets loose, you moving, and you finally do open it up, and that you feel you can get through without having it collapse on you or getting stuck crawling through the hole.
Yes, I think I'll fashion a bit of a wooden brace around it as well, so that it's not just the fractured rock, but we have a bit of something holding it up, so that we can make egress this way, even if the Nazis didn't plan to.
Understood.
Just
All
a
right.
sort of Stonehenge-y kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys get that set up, kind of move your way into it, and you come into a tunnel, It is 7 feet high and about 3 feet wide. So need to go maybe a little single file. Got it. But
Like a
you know,
hallway. Yeah.
yep, like a hallway. But it extends on. Did anyone bring anything for light?
Oh, I've got a very powerful flashlight.
Oh yes,
I have a lantern. An oil lantern.
Flashlight and spare batteries.
oh nice. Yeah.
I have
Right.
a prayer book.
Oh
We've got
That's
burn
a
it a page at a
that's a-
time.
That's a
And
different kind of
matches.
light.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, the air is mostly tolerable, though occasionally it gets damp, and sometimes you get into those spots where the air it doesn't smell like it's been circulating. It gets kind of that fetid. But the oppressive silence and the only sound being maybe the occasionally dripping and your feet. You know, it can give me a sanity roll just for realizing that the further you go, there's more and more rock, the tons of rock that are above you.
24 is
91.
best.
Oh, if you fell, it's only 1 point.
Okay.
So the time when I roll 0-0, it's not too bad then.
No,
Yeah.
not too bad. You're just
Oh.
like, oh,
I'll burn 1 luck.
okay.
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny you say that because I've been down into a cave and you have to kind of tell yourself, don't think about the half a mile of rock above your head.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my goodness. So you're traveling on for if you have watches, it feels like you're traveling, you know, pretty much for 10 hours. And by that time you guys start getting pretty tired because 10 hours of walking downhill, it can take a while. So did you guys bring equipment to sleep and camp?
I brought food as well.
Oh, good. Yes.
I have a tent. I have a bedroll.
Okay.
Is this cave temperature, 54 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's
Chilly.
yeah, it's pretty chilly.
Just the
Right.
waterproof sheet again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, sleeping on the ground. All right. So if you brought food, go ahead and mark off some of the food that you eat. And then anyone keeping watch?
We should all just sleep.
Expect anyone to sneak up on us under these circumstances, but I tend to sleep only, in 45-minute bursts anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll have a look around between nods,
Okay.
and doubly so on a bedroll on rock.
Yeah.
Is there? We've been going downhill at a slight angle, a considerable angle,
Just a slight angle.
and is the cave width or height changed very much, or does it feel sort of like it was bored?
No, it feels more like it was a natural cave.
So we can, as we become weary after 9 hours, we could look for a larger chamber so we don't have to sleep in a line, which feels less wise. And it'll be easier if we can gather around the little cook stove and have our dried libations.
As long as we don't have to deviate from the path.
Because I'm not sure we're on the path yet. And at any rate, we haven't had to make any choices, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Not like we've had 3 notches telling us to go in a particular direction yet.
In all of
Yeah.
the folkloric tales, it's always the path going down through piles of gold and jewels, and
Yes, temptations of one sort.
temptations will be outside the path.
Yes, or something to frighten you off it.
I think the major thing that would be mitigating temptation at the minute is realizing that yes, we could go and pick up tons of gold, and you got to lug it back for the whole 10 hours we've already spent getting down this far. Not gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. So you guys have a little meal. If you brought like a little camp stove, it's a warm meal instead of a cold meal. And you settle in for the night. Everyone give me a luck roll for your night of sleep.
66.
45 is a pass.
Nice.
56 is good.
38 is good.
Yep. 48 is a pass.
All right. So when you wake up, you kind of find your way around. You find a little spot where you can do your business and set out again.
Do we recover hit points?
Yes, you do. Another 2 hit points for a good night's sleep. So as you're going down, everyone give me a track or hard spot hidden.
Ooh.
And 87 is neither of those.
I got a hard spot hidden.
14 is an extreme spot hidden for me.
Nice.
81 is lousy. My class it.
So as you were coming down, you saw a split in the cave, and with the spot hidden, as Damio was maybe, if he was in the lead, looks around, he sees down the right hand path. You find a boot print that looks like it was in the last month or so.
I think they went this way. What do you think, Milton?
Do I see the same thing?
Yep.
You've got the extreme.
Yeah. By point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With an extreme, you even see like off behind, maybe like was it the ones off the ground or the stalagmites, like a thrown off can of food that someone had ate and discarded the empty can.
Yep. And they didn't clean up after themselves. Yep.
Mm.
So, yeah, it looks like they went this way. Did anyone at all, any other circumstances, go in the other direction?
They did not.
No one went that way. They only went this way.
Right.
So hopefully they went the right way.
All right. So you guys press on.
What's interesting, sorry.
Yep. No problem.
Esmeralda said she hadn't seen them. I wonder if that means they went the wrong way.
Possibly.
But do we wish to follow them regardless?
Well,
they are our prey.
This is a good time for your cards because there's only a right
It's
or
a
left.
binary choice.
Yeah.
And we assume that we want to find the... what language was that you were speaking, Damiel?
Kanyan.
Ah.
An ancient language that supposedly was spoken by the peoples that lived underground. I can't quite recall where I learned it.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
I mean, I've studied Greek and Latin and Russian, and I'm not sure where I got it from.
And the city is called what? Vrithu?
The through V''THRUU.
But the city that I know about is Yanho, which I think was in what's his name's Argus's study in that letter.
Fontanelli's study.
Fontanelli's study.
Oh no, because we've been to 2 studies, haven't we? So, there's the books we got from Fontanelli's house, which discussed hollow earth theory.
Right. This Yanho is this between the 2 poles, so the center of the earth.
She said that was beneath.
She said farther on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's going to be a long way to climb.
She also mentioned Yug and Jeb.
Yes, that we'll need the.
Did we learn something?
The supplication of Nog and Yag.
From our friend from Yadith. Yes.
Yeah, she mentioned the Black Pilgrimage.
Yeah.
All right.
So, do we want to ask if this is the direction that will lead us to the through, or to Yan, or to the Kanyan?
or to the people that we're
Or
looking
to
for?
the Brotherhood. I mean, we know which way the Brotherhood went. It's a question of whether we want to follow them if they went astray.
Well,
And
she
then-
said that Esmeralda said we'd need to get something from her anyway to go further, to go lower. So we really need to go to see her. So it's whichever route gets us to.
She's in the tallest tower in the city of the Through, so that's our goal. All right. I shall ask if the thugs went to the right, is it?
Yes.
They tend to.
Yeah.
If they go left, we know we've got a problem.
I'll ask if that is the way to the city of the Through where Ash waits for us. 15 is a fine roll, hard success, and I've drawn the deluge.
Oh, right.
It looks like a woman with, yeah.
The deck
blue
answers yes.
Well, interesting. If we have time to explore in the future, I'd like to see what goes the other way. But for now, we have found the correct path.
Right. Okay. So as you press on down the right-hand path, about just after lunchtime, you come to a part in the cave where it gets very narrow. Almost so you have to turn to the side to kind of squeeze through. And as you try and go through, give me a size roll, but you need to fail it.
At last, size 40 is at an advantage. 64. Ha ha ha.
Yep, you got it. No problem.
29 is a hard success on size.
Oh, you.
27 is also hard for me.
72 is a fail.
All right.
It failed.
Okay. If you passed, as you get through, the rocks kind of gouge into you and they kind of pull, and you take 1d3 in damage as they kind of.
I was just healing that old back.
Yeah.
I took 2.
Oh, yeah. It's a good little cut across fancy shirts.
3.
Oh, yeah. As you went through, yeah. It dug in.
I might be speaking an octave higher for the rest of the day.
And is there any way that we could try and apply some first aid before
Oh,
we
yeah.
continue?
Oh, yeah. No problem.
I only have a 30, but I'll try it on Milton and then I'll try it on Nathaniel.
I'll try it on Milton.
I'll spend 2 freaking luck.
Okay. That's a 1d4 that they get back.
I got an 02.
Oh, wow. That's an extreme, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They get whoever you were tending to, they get
Milton.
four back.
All right, so then Nathaniel.
I got 1 back.
Yeah.
I tried.
Back to normal. But I may need some sewing equipment to put my shirt.
One is better than 0. I greatly appreciate it.
It is because without first aid, there's a chance you got. If you ever went across wet rock, that moss, you don't want that in wounds. That's very bad. So the first aid that's good roll there, Wyatt. The hours press on, and you come to what feels like another day of travel that you'll need to rest again. Do you still have food?
I
For the
possess
record?
food.
Oh, I have nothing. Remember, I was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you weren't on the shopping trip. That's true. But, and yeah. Boris
share
and
mine
stuff
with him.
went with Boris.
I'm very much used to fasting, so
Mhm.
I eat very little. I'll share with Wyatt whatever I have.
Yeah, it's not unlike me to just have a chunk of dried meat every few hours anyway, which is why I could easily pass through these narrow passages.
Right.
Mostly caffeine fuels me.
I know the feeling. I only put food with an exclamation mark on my list, so probably no more than 3 days or 3 decent meals.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip today and try and make it stretch out as long as I can. So maybe eat every other day, depending on how long we're going to be down here.
Right. Makes sense.
Yes, if we have a suitable container, I mostly have smaller things, but I have dried lentils because they weigh nothing. If we put them in with water now, then they'll take no time to cook tomorrow. They could just slosh around and get mushy. Good protein.
Mushy.
Have we seen more spoor of our erstwhile friends?
Yeah. Now that you know what to look for.
Is there? Can we estimate how recently somebody's passed through it all?
That's going to take a track roll.
Yeah, not my strong suit, but it doesn't hurt. No. It would have. It was an unlikely roll.
Yeah.
And a 71 was not going to help.
No. All right. So you guys sit down, lay down for the night.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Everyone. Yep.
After we eat, and as we're setting out our bedrolls, if we turn all of our lights off and remain still for a moment, do we get a sense of anything else on the move or any other source of light down here?
You don't see any sources of light. That would stick out really obvious. Give me a listen roll.
26. That's regular.
Okay.
I'm too busy snoring already.
I got an freaking 8.
Okay.
Pass, but regular.
Yeah, a 94. I think I'm sleeping with Milton.
Yeah.
I'm 92, so definitely.
If you
One shy of extreme.
you might not want to next one. If you passed, are your characters typical sleep outdoors kind of folk?
I am.
Okay.
And I'm more a sleep in a chair for 15 minutes kind of person.
I'm not
Okay.
even remotely afraid of the dark.
Right. So Damia, you hear, because even caves this deep, there's life, and so you hear the things moving around. But if you're used to being outdoors, you know that if you hear stuff moving, you're usually not in trouble. It's the stuff that is really quiet that can get you. If you are not used to being out there, it kind of gives you that, someone walked over my grave feeling, as it's just like, oh my gosh.
Can I hear at all water running anywhere? A lot of caves are made from running water.
You don't hear like a underground river. You do hear the constant kind of dripping. as it kind of works its way through there. And definitely if you lay underneath the stalactite, it'd be the water dripping off of that.
Is my compass operable here? Have I been getting the same kind of north as we go largely straight forward?
If a compass would work in a cave, it would. This is where me, as Keith Craig, is unknowledgeable whether or not.
If there's any kind of iron content to the rocks, it probably won't work.
It'll start screwing that up.
It'll point to whatever the largest mass of iron is under the ground. Just like if you put it on the dash of your car, it'll point to your hood. Usually, it doesn't work very well in a car.
Has the channel been by and large in a straight line, or has it been very twisty or slightly twisty?
No, slightly twisty. You could estimate, if you were counting your steps, that you've probably traveled about 35 miles.
Okay.
And
that's why everything aches slightly. Yeah.
By the angle, can we guess how far down we've gone? Using a little math.
Using trigonometry.
Use a little, figure out the hypotenuse. And do you have any science math?
1%.
It doesn't say how far down it goes. So essentially.
I've got a 90 of intelligence, so I probably have.
Yeah. I mean, that's basic, like simple trick. You feel that, yeah, we'll say you went down probably 15 miles.
Okay. At some point, it's going to start to get warm again.
Mhm. Right.
Once we start hitting the, what is that? The crust is what, 50 miles or so deep. And obviously, the Cthulian world does not quite follow the real world.
That's right. Obviously,
You can't have a city in the center of the earth in the real world.
Just floating in the mantle, what little bits left of it.
Yeah. All right.
Swirling bit of slag.
All right. So you guys lay down. Everyone just going to sleep through the night again.
Oh,
Give me a luck roll again.
41 is good.
78, still good.
Good.
54 is good.
Okay. All right. So as you're waking up the next day, Damio, as you're kind of looking around and the lights are, I'm assuming that the lanterns are not being as bright as you're just get used to being in almost perpetual darkness. You see off in the distance out away from the entrance back into the tunnel from this antechamber that you're in, you see a figure there, and you're pretty sure that it's what was Mark's first character's name? Ian?
Oh, Ian?
Yeah.
Or dead friend?
Was it pronounced
Yep.
Owen?
Owen.
Owen, yeah. You see Owen kind of standing there, and he's where they kind of beat him. His face is all swollen, and he's got this very lividity to him.
I stand up and I go over to him. Owen.
Goes Damio, you've joined me underground.
Yes, but you've passed away. Haven't you gone on from here?
I descended into the Everblack. It's perpetually dark. He's like, I'm so glad to see you.
To pull out my cross.
Mm-hmm.
My character's thinking, okay, we're in the underground. This could be a demon,
right? Yeah.
I want to see what his reaction when I pull out my cross.
The other four characters, you see Damio standing at the entrance talking to the wall.
Lost it.
Damiel,
just a second.
Odysseus had himself tied to the mast of his ship when he was worried he might wander off.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the classics. I've read them in Greek. Have you?
As he smiles, you see like a bug crawl out of one of his nostrils.
You might want to read them again.
Anyways, so he has no reaction to my religiosity that I'm through.
No. Mm-mm.
Are you in pain?
Oh no, there's nothing. I've reached the I've found what the answer is. There's nothing on the other side.
Okay, well there's something because you're here.
Everybody, squint your eyes. I'm going to turn my flashlight on Damiel and see if there's something behind him.
You mean in front of me? Because you're shining on the back of mine.
Right behind you to me.
Okay. When you shine that on, it's bright, and you see the rock wall and Damio. For a brief second, Owen's there as his eyeballs is starting to kind of collapse in his face, and then he just he's no longer there. I don't want to say he dissipates because that would imply that he kind of drifted away. But yeah.
So I turn around, please.
Yes.
Blinding.
Yeah, sorry.
I,
We just wanted to see what you were talking to.
Well, I think that whatever it was presented itself as Owen.
Oh,
He was dead.
hello.
He was decaying, but he was trying to tell me that there's nothing after. It was, the more I think, it was very emotionally draining, but at the same time, I mean, I'm now thinking that it must have been one of these temptations, stay on the path. It was extremely vivid.
Who's playing on your religious beliefs?
Well, it was playing on the fact that I still feel incredibly guilty about Owen.
Mm. And if you just turn your lantern up, is there anything left? Is there a fissure in the rock or something? Is there some source that this might have emitted from, this shadow creature?
Is there any way that I could have gotten off the path, so to speak, if he'd have walked somewhere and I followed him?
No.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very vivid. I think it was a trick, though.
Yeah.
Are you visited by the dead often, Damiel?
No, never. I don't believe. I believe that my religious beliefs are that when you die, you go to heaven or hell. You don't stick around. Ghosts are nonsense. Except that there are entities, there are demons that might try to trick you. But it didn't react badly, so I don't think it was a demon. It was a trick. Maybe we've been down here too long.
Perhaps, or something is aware that we're here.
My guess is that each of us will at some point be tempted. We've got to remember, if there's something that doesn't make any sense, then it's going to be a trick. It's a trick. You see your mom down here. If you see your pet down here. If we see Boris down here. Unless he comes out and shakes our hands and hands us a bottle of vodka, it's not really.
Well, everybody just, if you see something that makes you feel guilty, stay away from it.
Well, surely, Nathaniel, with your experiences in the dream world, there's got to be all kinds of phantasms that are unreal that present themselves in dreams.
I mean, you spend as much time in the dreamlands as I am, you start questioning if anything is real, Damiel. But
what if we're at the point of crossover? What if we're in the place where the dreamlands and the real lands cross over?
That might be.
If that was the case, I'm sure a flock of cats would have already come to visit our friend Milton. So I suggest we keep heading towards the city. I mean, as much as I love Lethbridge's lentils, I would love to get to that feast personally.
Yeah, I'd rather get there before I start seeing stuff, because if I do, I think I know what I might see, and I don't.
I've gone a week without food and not had hallucinations like this, so I'm not that worried about it. But
all right.
It's not what I wanted to think about while I'm walking underground here.
Reminds me of ancient Greek myth, actually. I mean, doesn't Odysseus run into a bunch of shades? I mean, the Greeks thought quite literally you could enter a cave into Hades.
Yeah.
Found it.
All right. Pressing on.
Onward.
All right. So as you're traveling, about 3 hours into your mind-numbing walk that it's become, who's in the lead?
Should we sing songs or something?
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a reason why militaries, when they march, they sing Jodi's, because it helps.
Let's sing a good logging song.
Yeah.
10,053 green bottles hanging on the wall.
Yeah. Right.
What about the one the little funny people sing in the animated cartoon? Hi ho, hi ho.
Oh,
they're in a hole, aren't they?
Off the work week.
Yeah.
Bucket and a spade and a hand grenade. Hi ho, hi ho.
And why? What source of light do you have?
I'll grab whatever lantern, and whoever we could, alternate. Whoever's in the lead, grab the lantern.
Okay.
And at this point, it's down to the slightest.
Right.
We're burning very little fuel because we are all night.
Yeah.
All
right. All right, Wyatt. Give me a spot hidden.
11
Okay.
would be. It's just shy of extreme. 2
Okay.
points away.
Yeah. As you're walking, you suddenly see that the path suddenly drops, like almost straight down. You see some the little tackle that someone would have used to climb down, still embedded into the rock. But you realize that you were almost in a lull because of the monotony and the unchanging, that you almost walked off of this cliff. As you look down, it looks like it goes down about 60 feet, but you see that the path continues on down there, and there are quite a lot of trash thrown in this area at the bottom.
Whoa, wait, watch. Look. And then I point out, I shine a light on the,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, at least we got
trash
something
left
to help
trash
us.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Someone should put up a sign or something.
Well,
Getting
that's the stuff they
getting a
left.
bit of a flashback to another hiking trip recently.
Yes. How are you feeling, Cooper? You look better.
I feel a lot better, but I'm making my stomach a little sick. Another drop.
Well, is are the pitons and things that are driven in still stable? Can we use them to simplify our descent?
If we need any more, I've got some more.
Right.
And a hammer to knock him in with.
All right.
I think that we could just use them.
All right. Who wants to climb down first?
I can do a good
Exactly.
impression of falling, not climbing.
I'll go first.
Okay. With a bonus die.
Climb.
Yep.
I got an 02 on the first roll, so
Abseils all the way down.
And give me a luck roll on the way down.
pass.
Yep. All the gear is still stable, embedded into the rock, hasn't come loose or anything. Okay. All right. Who's next?
I'll go next. Climb, right?
Yep.
56 out of 30. It's a lot of.
A lot of fucking fall too.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I'll spend.
Is it
20.
straight down or is it like at an 80-degree angle?
Probably not quite straight down because it is a natural, but yeah, it's.
So he's going to scrape himself up on the way down too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's 22 points of luck. Yeah, I'll spend it.
All right.
It's triple pulp.
That's right. As you come down, you kind of the rope feels like it almost gets away from you, but you grab on and you continue on down. All right. Who's up?
I gotta get this out. I gotta get
yeah.
this out of the way, or I'm never
Can
gonna
I
do it.
hold the bottom of the rope to help with like a little bonus or something to keep it from? I don't know.
I'd say it's probably already kind of doing that with the pitons.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, a 10 without the bonus dice. Oh,
You learned.
It's always
Oh, I had a bonus dice on that?
Yeah.
I rolled a 1.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't get your luck back.
Ah, thank you.
You went
Yeah.
I didn't roll.
backwards in time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. All right. Who's next?
Well, Blake, I'm lighter, but it might be good to have someone up here if you have any difficulty.
Yeah, I'm really not good at this. So, Damiel, get ready to catch me.
I'm ready.
Right, here we go. 39 on the first one and 59 on the second one. So that is a fail. That's going to be 19 luck if I want to burn it.
You could always push it.
You know what? No. I'm lucky. We'll save Damiel's magic points and such for later. So I'll burn the 19 luck for now and hopefully get a large chunk of it back later. So
Understood. All right.
47 is unsuccessful. 79 is worse. 47, I have to spend 27 luck.
That might be realm for Damiel.
Just about half of what I have left. But I'm late and I have no injuries.
Do you have at least 30 left after that?
No.
Catch him.
It's 29 if I spend 27.
YOLO, right?
Yes. Here goes nothing. Whoa!
All right.
I got a 20. Oh, wait. How much do I need? I got a 29 out of 27. So I'll spend the 2
All right.
luck to.
Kind of slowly. Right. Yeah. And we'll say that it takes 6 magic points for one magic point per 10 foot that you kind of get him down.
He grabs hold of the rope 6 foot before the ground.
Oh, well, thank you, Damiel. I have to say, under better circumstances, I'd like to try some more of that. It's a very interesting experience to suddenly be gripped by invisible powers in the air. And
Fortunately, I didn't
get
accidentally do the
progress.
pyrokinesis instead.
Yeah.
Light you
Yes,
on
that is-
fire, make you a torch.
Although that might have lightened me, but oh well.
All right.
Now I'd like to inspect the litter down here. See
Mhm.
how far in advance of us they are. If they left, say, a banana peel, it'll give a good indication of hours even.
Okay. Sure. Give me a natural world or track.
Oh, we kind of know it was a
Stronger.
couple of weeks.
Well, we don't know what their progress has been like. And I'd like to, as long as they're leaving stuff behind, I would like to know if we're just about to catch up to them for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had to drive all those pitons in and so on. They've,
It's true.
so I rolled a 36, so 1 is a success for natural world.
Yeah, they're the fruit or whatever that was left of the fruit's pretty rotted, and you're like, yeah, it's probably been down here, over a week.
Mm-hmm. So we might be gaining on them, but we still have quite a lead. But no one warned them to stay on the track. We don't know what exactly they're following anyway. So
It's actually kind of interesting, too, that the fruit is rotted because there's probably very little bacteria down here at this point.
yes, but oxidation will happen anyway.
It would desiccate, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And if anything's going to be here, mold spores.
Maybe.
All right. So you travel on, and right about an hour before you start thinking, okay, we're going to have to make another camp, you notice that the floor goes from the natural cave floor to actual carved stones, and that And the walking is easier because it's been smooth. You're not constantly having to be wary of rolling your ankle or slipping on moisture. And for the first time, you're like, oh, hey,
Civilization.
yeah.
Let's all shutter our lights and see if there's any other source of illumination at this point. We're approaching some sort of human or not human construct.
When you do you guys all shutter your lights in?
Yeah.
When you do, ahead of you, there is a faint blue glow.
Is it a similar hue to that of Esmeralda Ash?
It is.
Mhm. I think we've come the right way.
When we were in Lomar, I may have been confused. Did it seem like Lomar was underground?
No,
Okay.
it was at the North Pole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lomar is in perpetual darkness.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, there is some light. We can go that direction.
All right. So as you press on, the tunnel levels off, and the blue light gets brighter and brighter. And right when you come to an opening of the cave, and you can see it's opening up into this huge, vast chamber, you can see that the light is almost like right at dusk is about how much light it's producing. And you see ahead of you a vast landscape of rolling stony hills with where in the lower areas in the hills it's obscured by blue mist. Off to the right, you see a large forest of trees that none of you recognize. And the ceiling is, you can't see it. It kind of, the blue mist goes away, but you do see something flying around. And all of you can give me a sanity roll for seeing a entire civil world in this.
I passed 40.
21 is a pass.
Nice.
86 is a pass.
Wow. Nice.
Nope.
All right. Give me a 1d4 if you fail. One. Okay. And you are still indefinitely insane, correct?
Correct.
All right. Give me a 1d10.
10.
10. You gain a new mania. 1d100.
Fear of the color blue.
Oh, you'd be obsessed with it.
I'll have to change my whole wardrobe.
Yeah.
I got 38.
38.
I hope it's not fecophilia.
Oh God, no. No, you are obsessed with giving gifts.
Oh no. Oh no.
Doromania is the
Arlo.
Time to start carrying around a lot of ties.
Ties, yeah.
Funny you should mention that. I do have a selection of assorted bow ties that I carry with me.
Yeah. And give yourself another Cthulhu mythos point.
Okay.
Keeper, are these trees green leaved?
It's hard to tell. They're pretty far off. You would estimate they're probably about 15 miles away.
Oh,
So the mist is kind of
yeah.
How
There's not enough
muted
light
them.
for chlorophyll, so
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I
what
bet you
does
they're
the-
not trees. They're probably fungi.
What does the light source look like? Like, where is this illumination coming from?
It's just the up glows.
Yep.
Probably moss
there's-
or something.
Yeah, it's like glowing fungus or
Neat.
don't know.
So there are rolling hills and trees, but no sign of a city yet.
Did anyone bring binoculars?
I don't think so. Oddly.
Does anybody have really super duper sight?
Yeah.
It is one of those crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, I have magnifying lenses, but I think those are close use.
Close in.
I've got a magnifying glass as well, and that ain't going to cut it.
Yeah, that would probably make it harder to see.
I have a poetic spirit.
Isn't that lovely? All right. So you can't see, but you can. There is a very distinct path that heads. I'll just orientate it to the map they give me. It heads south to the west is where the forest is, and to the east it looks like almost like scrub brush.
This might be the path she was saying.
Well,
You said that the floor was carved stone. You mean that it was chiseled out of the rock, not that it's a laid path? Is that right?
In the cave. Now if you come out, you start seeing that. Yeah, this is like rock that they've laid like a Roman road.
And it's
amazing.
Anyone has history or archaeology, you could.
I have history.
Actually, I do have archaeology.
5%.
73 is not what my history is, though, so no.
I got 66 out of 60, so what I'll do is I'll spend 6 points
All right.
because it's fascinating.
And that's on archaeology?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you notice is that these stones are a odd combination of both Roman Empire and Mesoamerican kind of style. Yeah.
Very interesting. I would say very odd because we're getting like Roman here and Mesoamerica in style. Some of these blocks are so perfectly cut that you can't fit a piece of paper in between. Like
I wonder if people, what sort of stone would I estimate it is? Should I roll natural world for that?
Is it still the bluish?
It's more of it's just reflecting. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, it does kind of look like the stones that were used on the blue tower.
Follow the blue brick road. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Brick road.
Oh, the Azure Road. See that's the two syllables.
Azure
That's
Road.
Azure Road.
Azure Road. I guess our path forward is clear, and hopefully we can get some more pleasing sustenance soon.
I'm hoping that as we move along, we'll see a brighter light somewhere where a city is.
Now I think we should just stay on the path no matter what we see.
Right.
Don't let your dead friends pull you off the path.
I mean, I guess the question is, you said this was right before we were normally going to sleep, Keith.
Yep.
We want to camp at the foot of the path, not like going out there, but still in the cave part.
Yeah,
That seems wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where we still have some protection.
We can do a little bit of cooking out here where the light will attract less attention because there's ambient light, and then we can put our
Hopefully
bedrolls
we'll get
back
somewhere
in the cave.
We'll get somewhere in a day. Otherwise, do we have to sleep on the path? We can't
We're
sleep.
not going to sleep off it. Yeah.
I mean, we are going to make better time here than we did inside the cave, and so we should get somewhere within a day's stout walk.
Right.
All right. So you guys are going to get the last little bit more of your meager meals, and then can't rest for the night.
Yes.
It's going to set a watch.
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah,
I'll
Take some
volunteer.
turns.
I think we've reached a point, yes, where it is easy to sneak up on us rather than difficult.
Okay. All right. Who has the first watch?
I'll take it.
All right.
Got a fresh pot.
I'll
There
take the
you go.
second watch.
Take the third.
Vigil, we'll call it. Keep vigil.
All right.
Got a lot at church.
Marsden, as you're kind of sitting there trying to keep awake as you sit in the quiet, give me a listen roll.
Oof. No, 65 is pretty bad.
Okay.
I've been sketching in my notebook this odd landscape, so maybe my pencil scratches have.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so as you're sitting there pencil scratching, the one thing that you notice is when the blue light didn't like darken or anything like it wasn't a night day cycle here.
Mhm.
And that, as you're kind of in there, you notice that the blue light shining into the cave where you guys are there, for a brief moment, it kind of flashes like something walked in front of the door.
It flashes as though it was obscured for a moment and then returned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, this seems like if I didn't see something, but something passed through, maybe the full spectrum flashlight will show a shadow or a waver or something. If I hopefully don't wake anybody up, flashing it back in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone there?
So you turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a sanity roll.
Oh, 38 is very good.
Okay. You are fine. What you see this bipedal creature. You would think that it at one time was of a human descent, but the top half of its head's gone, and it just has its tongue kind of flopping out from its jaw, and off of the sides, it's got all these various toes that seem to have been grafted onto it. And it starts kind of shambling kind of toward you as if the light's kind of attracting it.
Wake up! Wake up!
And all of you can give me a sanity roll for seeing this.
That's awesome.
I was just going to say, I'm so glad I'm asleep. Thank you, Marsden. Thank you.
26 is a
Just
pass.
passed it. Just.
Pass.
I'm
Oh,
19's an easy pass.
okay. Yeah. You see this, it kind of shocks you, and it starts when the yelling, it starts running towards you. So everyone give me, besides Marsden, give me a dex check to see if you're able to kind of like get yourself ready or if you'll have a surprise round.
64 is just barely a pass.
Nice.
I got
96.
28 out of 65, so that's a hard.
Nice.
96 is nowhere near.
All right.
98. I got up and fell over my feet.
You're like, oh, I got a sleeping bag.
Ready for
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Milton and Wyatt. All right. Nathaniel, you are the fastest of the group.
I'm going to smack it with my club of a walking stick.
Okay.
I'm going to try to anyway. And 66 is a fail.
So you kind of swing as it kind of makes it's weird like swing at you almost in this unnatural, and that's why you kind of missed as you're like, oh, what? The people don't swing like
I'm so weirded out by it that I'm like,
yeah. All right, Damiel.
I am going to push it like as hard as I can with my abilities.
Okay, let's see what its size is. Okay, you will need a hard.
Oh, 2.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. You push it. Are you trying to blow it out of the cave or into the wall?
I'm trying to fling it back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you do with no problem with that roll. Yeah, he kind of flings back, and it's confused. And I'll give it a intelligence roll. Oh well, it rolled really well. And so as you flung it back, it starts coming back towards you, but it's not going to get a chance to attack because now it doesn't move fast enough to overcome the distance that you threw it back. All right. So Marsden.
Well, this is where it's useful to have a firearm that doesn't make a lot of noise, because I would hate to fire a gun at the entrance to a giant cavern. But my magneto rifle, I'm gonna try to give it 3 pops in the gut.
Going to give it a volley?
Yeah.
All right.
Just a spurt. I'm not even sure I want it dead, because I don't even know if it means any harm.
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly want it subdued. Wow, I rolled a 41 for 40. I think that's worth spending a point.
Yeah. So with a volley, which is just regular success, you just hit it with one of them.
Okay, yeah.
Roll your damage.
Oh, sorry. 2.
And how big are these like projectiles?
Because it's kind of potluck, but they vary from like die size to like ink bottle size.
Okay. So you rolled a 2. All right. So you hit it, and it hits it, and it doesn't start bleeding like you would expect. Maybe it doesn't have a heart to cause it to pump blood. It kind of pulls this thing back and
does it reek of decay?
It reeks of it's not decay, but of body odor, just unwashed for years.
No. And it appears to have been human once.
Yes.
And when you say the back of its head was missing, what's there?
Like here and up is gone.
Uh-huh. Oh, so I don't even know how it sees what it's seeing.
Right. It's just its tongue up there. It's almost like it's tasting the air.
Uh-huh. Vile.
Yes. All right. Top of the round. Milton.
How wide is the tunnel we're in at this point?
It's about
how many people?
4 foot.
So there's only really one person that can be at the front to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not at the front as other people have done
So
stuff.
Nathaniel's kind of there with his thing, and Marsden maybe was like shooting on beside him, or
Yeah, I assumed I was sitting on some sort of rock by the entrance or some such, keeping watch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nothing I can do. There's not enough room.
Understood. Yeah. Nathaniel.
All right, again, club it with my walking stick.
All right.
09 is better. That's an extreme success.
Okay. All right, and that's a blunt damage, right?
Yep.
Okay. You hit him.
So just roll damage. Yep.
Yep. Well, you get max damage because it's
Okay,
blunt.
so 12.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that hurt. It falls back. Wyatt.
If this is possible, let me know. Can I push past Nathaniel and just try and tackle this thing out of the cave? Not even wrapping my arms around it like a football,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give me a brawl, but as you kind of push Nathaniel all the way, it's going to give you a penalty die.
I'm not slamming him.
Right, but it's kind of breaking up your
Right, so the first one is a 23. The second roll is an 03, so a 23.
Okay.
Which would be hard.
Okay, you needed it. Okay, yep, you got him.
So I'm just kind of trying to check him to throw him back out the cave so we could.
Okay, give me a strength roll then. So you hit him. And bonus die because you got a hard on your.
So 54 or a 14. So 14 is extreme on my strength.
beat my 99. So yeah, you send it flying, and when it hits the ground, it kind of scrapes part of the back end of its head, just kind of rips off, as there's really not any skull there. So just some of the flesh rips, and it kind of stops moving. The tongue lolls off out.
Now I was making room, so I'm throwing my whip for next round. That's why
Okay.
I was trying to get.
Yeah. But it's not moving anymore.
Oh, it's not moving. Oh,
Nope.
all right.
Yeah. When it hit its head or whatever, the one hit point it had left was.
Oh, all right.
What in God's name? What's that thing?
After we ascertain that it's not going to rear up, it was going to attack us with its hands, I guess, since it only had one mandible. Are the hands just human hands?
They do. They look like they're just kind of torn up, like it's been digging in the ground, and it doesn't really have the blood circulation to clot and repair itself.
And the toes that are attached, sort of like a necklace, but in the flesh.
Almost. Give me you can give me a first aid or a medicine.
Beyond first aid.
Rather, regular first aid.
As you're looking at it, they're not sewn on there. It's almost like they've been almost like soldered onto it, but with flesh, like so.
So this creature appears to be the result of some grotesque experimentation that someone has undertaken.
Yes.
And it's difficult to imagine what is animating it.
Correct.
Does anything come out of the neck into that empty head, like wiring or threads of fungus or
maybe
tubes?
a little bit of spinal nerves.
I'm glad there was only one of them, and I pity it, and I'm glad it's out of its misery.
Didn't our friend mention about this slaver that had a particular artistic flair? I'm wondering if this might be an example of artistic flair.
It's an odd medium for sure. Well, good night, everybody.
back to sleep.
I'll take over for you, Marsden. I got 3 hours of sleep. That's enough.
Yes. Well, I'll lie down for a bit. I don't know that I'll be sleeping again, or that I would want to immediately. I feel as though my dreams might be colored.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So, guys, lay back down. The three of you that are trying to go to sleep, give me a sanity roll to see if you're able to just kind of calm your mind.
82.
Is that good?
49's good.
Oh, fail.
Oh,
A 95 is so close to a success, but yet I missed it.
If you fail, you're not losing any. You've got that night of sleep, where I'll lay over here. No, I lay. You just cannot get your mind to calm down.
If only you could spend luck.
Milton's over there. All right.
Probably my bare toes poking out from underneath my waterproof sheet, occasionally wiggling.
And Damiel, as you're sitting there at watch, a couple hours into it, is this bird that's completely white, like it's never had the sun, to cause it to need to be any other shade. It lands and it starts picking at the
body
corpse. Yeah.
Is it a large bird?
Yeah, not California condor, more of like a hawk. So, about 4 or 5 foot wingspan. But, the actual body is not that big.
All right. Well, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to spend a good portion of this standing up. I'm going to prop myself against the wall of the cave, but I want to look around. I'm not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to be looking at the hills in the distance and the bird.
Right. Yep. So as you kind of look around, give me a spot hidden.
9 is a pass. Regular.
Okay. As you are looking around, you see off to the southwest. So the forest was to the west, the path went south. So kind of in between the two of them, you see these flashes. They look like muzzle flashes, but it's farther enough away you can't hear the sound. And
If I see them and I try really hard, because we are in a cave.
Give me a listen.
I got a 21.
21. Let's see what kind of gun. How's your gut fighting gun skills?
My fighting skills are not very good. My brawling skill is good, but my gun skills are not. So I wouldn't know what kind of gun it was.
Yeah. But it is rapidly firing.
Like,
yeah.
Machine gun. And the flashes came from where the path seems to be generally heading.
More of a, let's say the path is one leg of the right triangle, the forest is the other leg. It'd be like what the split of that would be. That's a terrible triangle I described, but
yeah. All right, so I'll just keep my vigil.
The rest of the night passes without incident. Nathaniel and Wyatt, eventually you do fall asleep. Who had the third watch?
I did.
Yeah, so you fall asleep after Nathaniel takes over watch for you. You didn't get any sleep during Damiel's.
I figured.
Yeah. So okay.
Oh, so you're going to take over after me?
Mm-hmm.
I have the third watch, the third shift.
Yeah. So when you get up, I sort of lean into you and I point. I said, right over there, I saw flashes and I heard what sounded like a machine gun.
Great. I wonder if should we wake everybody up and start heading there?
No, I will let everybody sleep. That's a long, long way off. I could barely hear the sound. In fact, from the flash to the sound was a few miles. Miles.
Yeah.
All right. I'll stay vigilant. Thank you. Try and get some rest.
Good night.
Okay. All right. So the morning comes. Everyone, each took your watch, and Nathaniel, Wyatt, Marsden, you're used to not getting a lot of sleep anyway. You and Tesla. So Wyatt and Nathaniel, you kind of yawning, but nothing mechanically to where it's impacting you. So not the best night's sleep. You only recover one hit point if you need to because you didn't get a good night's sleep.
I'm at full health.
Yeah. So
slowly climbing my way back from that fall forever ago.
Yeah, the fall suck. All right.
Don't mention climbing; you might lose some more.
No.
And I tell them all about the machine gun. I don't know what kind of machine gun, or if it was
one that puts a lot of lead in the air. Generally means pain.
And if it was between the path ahead and the forest, maybe it's somebody who strayed from the track.
Maybe. I hate the idea of these Nazis coming in here and just slaughtering every indigenous people that they find along the way. For all we know, we're going to encounter a lost civilization.
On the bright side, it could at best be that they're clearing the way for us, that if there was something that was going to jump out of the forest at them, like some giant spider or something like that. Just thinking of the most horrific thing I can think of off the top of my head.
On the other hand, they could have just irritated everything ahead of us so that it's unfriendly to things from the surface. How's Mr. Toe looking after another several hours?
Oh, there was a white bird.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He looks picked at.
Is it worth burying it?
Nope.
It's
Leave
rock.
it for the natural ecosystem.
I don't feel like leaving the path, to be honest.
Good point. Fair point.
Maybe throw it off the path, but as long as we stay on the path.
Marsden, are you chilly? Is your head cold? Would you like my hat?
Oh, that's all right. My waistcoat is woolen. I appreciate it because it's chilled out. Is it still cave temperature or is it warmer here?
Actually? It is warmer. It is warmer.
Anybody else want my hat?
I'm good.
No.
I mean, I have one, but did you want to swap hats for a while?
Oh, no. Was wondering if maybe somebody wanted my hat.
Oh, my armor's insulated, so I'm good. But thank you.
Well, I'll find some way to pay you all back.
Yes, nothing to worry about, of course. Wyatt, I assume you'll want to take the front, as is often the case.
Yes, and I have my whip at the ready.
I shall take the rear. We should try to make reasonably good pace today and see what there is to see. But be aware that there are firearms down here. Hopefully, we have a feast a few hours away.
Yeah. All right.
Something about fish.
Yeah. As you press on, the walk through the hills, following the path, you see occasionally a tall, twisted tree that vaguely resembles a cypress, but with broader leaves, and numerous shrubs resembling gorse, but with blue flowers instead. The road is in better condition, but sometimes there's weeds coming up between the cracks. After a couple miles of traveling along this, you come to an intricately carved black basalt bridge, and it's crossing over a river.
Is there any text written on the bridge?
There is not.
Okay.
No.
And when you say river, is this thing 30 feet across, 8 feet across?
It is 500 foot wide.
500 feet. This bridge is a work of considerable ingenuity.
Yes, it is.
And the water in the river smells sweet?
It does. It gives you a smell of, it's probably potable. And,
yes, I'll do a quick chemical test on it, and I'm sure we could all use replenished flasks.
Okay, yeah.
While Marsden's doing that, I'm just going to have a quick look, not go up and have a look, but look from where we are, just to make sure there's nothing like trip wires. They haven't, no one's gone ahead of us and booby trapped the bridge, because I'm thinking of what they did before, blocking the entrance. So this seems to be the first thing that they could do, besides blowing up more of the tunnel, that could be a problem for us.
Gotcha. Yeah. Give me a, since you're actively looking for it, I'll give you a spot hidden on that one.
It's a bridge.
Looks
99.
good. Looks good. Okay. Marsden, as you do your test, it comes back. Yep, it is drinkable. As you maybe got some water out, there were these long, fat in the front, but get really skinny fish swimming around.
Wyatt, we're never going to go onto an adventure deep underground without photographic equipment in the future. Can you help me remember that? It's quite embarrassing.
Absolutely.
We're finding another species every 20 minutes, more or less, with almost no proof. Not that we want a bunch of ninnies down here anyway, taking samples. So the water's good, and I assume that we can get to the river to do this without stepping off the path. I was like, oh, maybe I made a boo-boo.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get a little off the path, you know.
It's sort of a lean over rather than a run off like a ninny.
Yeah.
Well, we could go onto the bridge itself and lower something down and draw water out like it's a well.
Yes. And the mist is a constant, as is the light.
Yep.
And so visibility is a matter of 100 yards, more or less. And then things, I mean, depending on the size, of course. Of
We see all the way across the bridge.
Yeah, you can see all the way across the bridge. And, yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely in the low areas, the mist is thicker. Like,
any more? So there was the white bird. There are these fish. Are there little rodents hopping about in the grass on the side? Or are there butterflies? Or
no butterflies, but there are everything that you would expect in a food chain that could sustain larger animals. So you got your smaller animals.
It's a bit like an island ecosystem, like the Galapagos or some such, isolated for who knows how long. Fascinating.
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
and there's fish here if we don't find the feast.
Yeah, true.
All right. So you guys going to press on?
Indeed.
Yep.
All right. So as you press on, you start seeing off of the path various buildings. They appear abandoned. No, there's no anthropology in Pulp. Some of them look like farms. Other is temples. But most of them look like they've had their doors broken into. And as you travel on for about another 15 miles, you can start seeing ahead of you definitely the reflections of what looks like buildings, a city, but they look like they're made of gold.
Wow.
What did I say about carrying all this stuff back with us?
Yes.
Just a little.
Yeah. And
Avarice is not so easily dissuaded, Milton.
That's true. Then assume you keep traveling down the path.
Down the path.
Mm-hmm. All right. As you come along, you come across a one farm that actually seems like it's functioning. You see some people moving around. Now they're moving even more slow and zombified than the people in Groth's village. But one of them is kind of near the path, and he kind of yanks back, and you recognize him from the picture in the Institute. You recognize Dr. Nesbitt as he's standing there. He's each of his hand is missing his ring and his little finger, and he is completely naked. And he fearfully kind of pulls back from you as you are approaching. And
I made the joke about finger food.
And that's where we'll stop.
Well, Milton, we have a report to make back to the Institute.
Our players included Jason Melanchuk, Matthew Sanderson, David Gasaway, Morgan Llewellyn, and myself with Keith Craig as the Keeper of the Secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.